Hello and welcome to the Core Advantage podcast. My name's Darren McInnes.
And I'm Jacob Tober.
On the podcast, we talk about all things sports science, strength and conditioning, and athletic development.
You'll find links, show notes, and references in the podcast details and also on our website. Hello, welcome back to another episode of the Random Thought Show.
Hey guys, how you going?
December here in Australia means summer, means the beach, means surfing.
Lots of great stuff. I can't wait.
It's the best. Bit of up and down start summer weather-wise.
Yeah.
The Americans aren't going to want to hear this, but we had a 40 Celsius day, which was
the hottest day on record for that date in November.
Hottest November ever.
Yeah.
No, hottest November day. Now we've had like a week of 19 degrees Celsius here.
Yeah,
it's been
I
cool
don't mind up and down. Up and down's fine by me because it keeps the gym cool. It gives it time to cool off. And then to me, it always feels if you have more of these cool days now, you're going to get nice, consistent holiday weather. And this is my 20th year sort of anniversary as in this field, and I'm taking 20 days off, my longest stretch of days that I think probably since my honeymoon.
Wow.
So I'm pretty psyched for this summer. Yeah,
going
it's gonna be great.
Camping or semi-camping as Meg calls it.
Meg is so disparaging about it. Like it's proper camping. Like going. Meg does more hardcore camping than we do. But yeah, we've got a camper trailer and we're going to go camp without running water for the first time as a family. So we'll see how that goes. My daughter is not keyed up for it. She's already kicking up a stink about it, but we'll see how we go. But yeah, so great time of year. And it's this time of year though, there's a real sprint on for us, and that sprint is to produce all of our summer training programs and packages. We've been working really hard this week on videos. That the rest of the team's working really hard on creating programs for summer. I thought it might be a good chance for us to chat about why that's such a big deal, what we're sort of putting out this summer, and yeah.
Because it's all good and well that the fun stuff of summer or winter holidays if you're in the Northern Hemisphere is great to take some leave from school and Christmas and New Year's and all that sort of stuff. But the problem is very quickly a couple of days off creeps into a week off, into 10 days, into 14 days and you go, oh, I've only been for one kick of the footy or I've only shot hoops in the backyard twice in the last 10 days and all of a sudden you've done yourself a lot of damage in terms of getting back.
Yeah, that loss of adaptation. So I was lucky enough quite a few years ago now to go along to an amazing symposium. It was called the Mastering Load Symposium in Melbourne, put on by Physio Sports Brighton, and it was a great event. I got to hear some of the giants of this field talk, Dr. McDrew, Dr. Tim Gabbett, Dr. Darren Burgess, and it was one of those weekends where you learned a lot. I learned a lot of interesting stuff and great data, but the exciting thing for me was it was science really catching up with common sense.
And intersection between logic and science.
Yeah, and the common sense, and so it was all about the big, I suppose, theme at the time was your training stress balance or your acute to chronic workload ratio. The idea being, what are you planning on doing this week as compared to a rolling average of the previous 3 weeks? And the logic is that if you've not been doing much for 3 weeks and suddenly you spike, then you have your training stress balance is out of whack. You have a poor acute to chronic workload ratio. The ratio is wrong, and you're a good chance to get hurt because you don't have that adaptation.
It's literally just maths. It's what have you done in the last 5, 6, 7 days or 10 days, sometimes depending on which research paper you look at, depending on how they measured it. But it's what you've done in the last sort of 7 to 10 days compared to what you've done over the last 4 to 6 weeks.
Yeah.
And if there's a discrepancy, if your weekly load now compared to your average weekly load over the last month is way out, that's a big red flag.
Yeah, and you're just begging for trouble. And when you break it down in layman's terms, it's really obvious. So if I'm not running at all for 6 months and I attempt to do 15 100-metre sprints at maximum intensity, I am guaranteed to tear my hamstring or to tear something. You just
or wake up the next day and not be able to move for 4 days because your obliques and hamstrings and quads.
Yeah, you're going to do something that sets you back because you don't have that adaptation to that stress. In the same way that astronauts, when they come back to the ground, when they come back to Earth, they have not had any gravity for a number of weeks sometimes, and they need to rebuild because they just don't have that because we de-adapt so quickly.
That's the big thing. It's de-adaptation in the same way we're training and constantly adapting. When we stop training, it's not like we just hold on to that. It's like, I'll just hold this fitness and this tolerance for later. Slowly our body just sort of goes back and back and back towards a baseline. And the thing that, because there was definitely a pattern for a long, long time, and it always made sense
and what it was athletes would work really hard for 48 to 50 weeks a year and get themselves up into a really good sweet spot where they were adapted enough that they actually had a low risk of injury, because it's kind of like as you were trying to get your volume up, there's a risk of hurting yourself. But once you get to kind of a cruising altitude of moderate to high volume training, it actually has a really high protective effect. You're just much less likely to get hurt once you're at that altitude.
Yeah.
And often I find that our athletes get to that point at some point in the year, but we've got to hang on to it for dear life when it comes to summer.
Yeah, exactly. And because doing too much work is dangerous. You dig yourself into a big hole and you burn yourself out. But doing too little work is also dangerous because at some point from going too little load, you're going to have to go back through moderate to high load.
Yeah.
Whereas if you just stay moderate, you can handle a little bit of a spike here and there. You can handle a tournament. You can handle a camp, something like that, and you can sort of steady things out. Before we get back and start talking about actual strategies and tactics so that you can avoid that and avoid the subsequent injuries and issues and teething problems of getting back into your training in January and February, let's swing to an Iron Edge pro tip. Then when we come back, we'll talk about what we're going to do and how we can help you and how you can help yourself be a better
or your athletes.
Yeah, I like it.
Hey guys, Durham here with your Iron Edge pro tip. One of the best ways you can get a rowing movement in if you don't have access to your own gym is bands. We love these cloth bands because they're really versatile. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take the band and I'm going to wrap it around an upright. Obviously an upright that doesn't move is very important. And I'm just looping it through itself so it's nice and safe. And then I'm really set up for a nice row. So kneeling stance, got my left leg forward, right arm ready to operate. I can just row back and really focus on that shoulder blade retraction. Squeeze those shoulder blades together. I need to get a little more tension on it though, so I'm back a little further. Body nice and upright, and then row, and really squeeze those shoulder blades together as you go. Obviously, if you want to make it harder, you just keep moving yourself further and further away from the upright and or from whatever you've got it hooked around. Just always make sure that it's a very secure upright that you've chosen, not just a door handle or something flimsy that could fly at you. So up tall, squeeze, and you're good. There you go.
So yeah, we knew this was a trend. We would see this happen year after year in that we would have a pretty unacceptably high rate of January and February injuries. So you work really hard to get athletes bulletproof and they would have this long break and then they wouldn't do much. And the first phase of trying to fix that problem was us doing some YouTube videos, some whiteboarding.
Version 1 of this exact podcast.
So the first time around, it was just, okay, general terms. Okay, when you're away, make sure you do a bit of this, a bit of that.
Just educating about acute to chronic workload ratio, making people aware that it's a thing.
And we thought, great, we've told people things are going to be different. Next January rolls around, February rolls around, and exactly the same thing happened. And it was really negligible improvement, I think, in the injury rate. And so the next year, we're like, all right, this is the year. We're going to sort this. We're going to write holiday programs for every athlete, for every day. And we sweated for months because it takes a long time. You know, you've got 250 or so athletes. It takes a long time to get every program written.
Because what you also have to do, remember, in holidays are the most anomalous time of the year for athletes and kids. They're traveling to the beach. They're going to America trips. They're going to visit relatives. They're going wakeboarding. Yeah. So every athlete in the normal season is like, okay, school is Monday to Friday, basketball's Friday night, footy Sunday morning, whatever it is. Their schedule are pretty consistent, pretty homogenous. When it comes to the holidays, things like travel days and all that kind of stuff, and access to resources and access to equipment and space is actually at its most unique. So you have to make contact with every athlete.
And so we went all out and we had everyday programs. Like, okay, on Tuesday, the 27th of December, you're going to do this it was day by day. And we were so proud and so happy with how it went, we thought. We're like, right, problem fixed. And then we were horrified by how many of our athletes came back and said, and we're like, how'd you go with the holiday program? And they're like, I forgot how to do that exercise. I didn't quite get it done. And like, it was a little better than when we hadn't sweated, but it wasn't months.
That year was definitely the start of the improvements, I think.
Yeah.
That was the start of the lowering of their injury rate. Yep.
It wasn't what we wanted though.
Definitely.
And so the next year, we finally got wise, or you got wise, and we made an app.
Yeah, we built an app. We built the Core Advantage Interval Timer app with the instructions, the YouTube videos, the little blog snippets in there so that like download it's free. Anyone can get it.
Yep.
And you can solve the problems.
And that interval timer, the name actually probably sells it short, because what we really built it, the purpose behind it was actually much more maintaining your volume. We couldn't think of a snappy title, but really it's a resource, not just timing your intervals, but it's about helping you do all the stuff you should do over the break.
Because the problem with most interval timers is they're just like build your own and away you go. This was actually, yes, it's got the pre-built timers and it's got a custom timer built, but it was this is what your program's got. So these 4 or 5 different types of workouts in them for different things, like change of direction. Because acute to chronic isn't just about, you can't just go run 5Ks a week and every week run 5Ks a week. It's not the same. So sprinting load, strength training load, jumping load, change of direction load, scrimmage load, they all have subtly different effects on the body. And in summer, we all go back to, let's go for a run in the morning before it gets too hot.
Let's dive into that a little bit. Now, we'll circle back to the app itself, but I think I was meaning to talk about that before. Yeah, so
Not all load is created equal.
Yeah, so one of my biggest frustrations over this 20-year journey of doing this is that I know that loads are very specific. So if you're used to playing volleyball, that is a very specific load. If you're used to playing footy, that's very specific. And you wouldn't maintain your footy conditioning by doing volleyball over the break.
And vice versa.
Yeah. But it's amazing how many people would come back and say, I wanted to maintain my fitness, so I ran 5K every third day over the break.
And a bunch of push-ups.
And I'm a footy player.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, that's actually such a different motor pattern, such a different intensity. You're running 5,000 metres continuously slowly to prepare yourself to run 20 to 40 metres.
At 100%.
At 100%. Yeah, and so it's that idea of you've got to chase specificity. It's got to be close to the kind of stretch. It doesn't have to be exactly the same. So, for instance, if you're a basketballer, just about every indoor court in Melbourne is going to be resurfaced over January. That's just a thing.
They sand the board back and revarnish them. Yep.
So you're not going to have access to exactly the court you need necessarily. But if you can at least have access to the body angles you would achieve. So if you do that repeat efforts 20-metre sprint drill or game fit drill, you're going to be running at the same pace and the same angles. So the force mightn't be identical, but the vectors are pretty similar. So the stresses, the directions the stress is going through your body are going to be pretty similar.
It's velocities, it's movement directions, it's muscle groups, and it's intensities. I think they're the big factors. So if you're a basketballer, you should be doing some change of direction work, some back pedal work, some hard acceleration, hard deceleration work. If it's on grass, it's not the same as on hardwood, obviously, and it's not as good, but it's better than just going for long, slow jogs. The closer you can get from a muscle activation and a joint angle and all those sort of things, like Dan was saying, is so crucial.
Yeah. And we've built this great resource where it's got the video instruction as well, so you can just follow along and watch Jacob sweat it out and
they were not fun. I'd really one confession that no one knows about is I'd really sore shins because that was about 3 years ago when I was still battling some reasonable shin splints that I'd had for years.
Yeah.
Filming those was really painful.
Was it?
Yeah, because you had to do the sprints and then you had to go back, change the camera, and then do it again. And when I did the repeat sprints one, it was raining. So it was the start of summer. It was middle November. It should have been a beautiful spring day, and it was raining. So I was racing to get it done. I had like 8 out of 10 pain in my shins. And just get this done. I'm not coming back to the track to do this again. That was a hellish day. The game fit one was a little better, but repeat sprints was not a fun day.
Yeah,
did not enjoy that at all. But I do need to make a video for Fartlek. We don't have one of those yet, so there's something that needs to be built in the next few days.
Yeah, okay, cool. We've got a lot to do. So, so previously what we've built is we've got the 8 and 12s drill, which is an off legs bike drill, 8 seconds on, 12 seconds off.
Which does a great job of mimicking sport-specific sort of work-rest intervals and really gets your lactate system, your anaerobic energy system working really hard.
Because you can easily fall into the trap of, if you leave us to our own devices, we all just want to work aerobically.
Yeah, we just want to go for a jog.
Yeah. So it forces you into that intensity level. So we've got that one there. Now, I love that one because you basically can't do too much of it, really.
Yeah, you could do 20 minutes of that a day.
You're overdoing it if you do every day, but it's not going to do any harm.
Yeah, so that one we usually prescribe in the holiday programs, and what you'll see in the resource which we'll talk about in a second is that's like a top-up. So get these 3 things done a week, and then wherever you've got extra time, chuck in some 8 and 12s.
Yeah. And then we've got the repeat effort sprints, which you've laid out really well. It's easy to follow, diagrams, video. It doesn't get much easier than that. You put that up. Did you put that up this week on the socials as well?
Yeah, they're all going up on Instagram in the next few weeks. So if you go to our Instagram feed, you'll see them all either popping up in the next few days, or the game fit and repeat sprints are already up. Yeah, and it's got a little snippet video of how to do it, and it's also got a few step-by-step slide instructions. Download the app, get it there.
Yeah.
And the repeat sprints is just set up a timer. And it's just like, that was the easiest one for our engineer Davey to build, was just like a start, go for 10 minutes, and you just sprint, decelerate, walk back, sprint, decelerate. It's just go, stop. Yeah.
And really effective.
Yeah, you do 5 minutes and you're like, this is nothing. What are they talking about? This workout's ridiculous. And then you get to minutes 6, 7, and 8 and you go, oh my God, do I have to? Because all that building up speed is the really hard work. Building it up and washing it off each time is really exhausting. And so you get that 7 minutes and all you want to do is just want to shuffle and cruise through them. It's like, you got to fight that. You got to make them hard sprints you would in a game.
Yeah. And you do want to build them up. So you probably want to underestimate how long you want to do that for the first time around, and then just really incrementally just turn the dial up in terms of adding more reps in it as time goes.
Yeah. Most people will start at like 7 minutes, I think 6 to 7 minutes.
Cool. And then we've got Game Fit in there, and Game Fit is something that I'm really proud of. It's something that we've iterated. It's been in development since 2006.
Went for a hiatus there in the middle for a bit, and then dug it back out of the closet.
And the catalyst for it was, for me, at that point in time, I was the high performance manager for the Australian Sapphires, our under-21 national women's basketball team. And we had our players in college, we had our players in the WNBL, so all over the world. And we needed to have them all fit for the 2007 World Championships. But we didn't have them together that much, budgets being what they are and player restrictions being what they are. I needed to find ways where we could actually have them do some high intensity work and be guaranteed to come into that tournament really fit. And so after a fair bit of trial and error, apologies to the WNBL players that I did the trial and error with as well. So
there's always some lab rats.
I'll never forget Caitlin Ryan just saying to me, because the first version was much harsher.
What was the first version? So I only saw it like a couple of years ago when we first made the video, when you mentioned you had it. And at that point, we're like, there's a few things here to tweak, but it was kind of in its final, it was like 90% of the way to its final form. What was the first version?
I think in our current version, we go hard I think I just had a lot less rest between quarters. Because the thing is, what Game Fit is about is it's trying to create a safe, automated match simulation system for you.
Of varied loads and movement directions and modalities, yeah.
Yeah, and I just wanted to make sure it was tough enough because I wanted to make sure our players were fit enough, and I just undercooked the rest really badly, and they were just dying. So I listened and increased the rest a little bit.
Which sometimes seems counterintuitive, to increase the rest to make a workout better.
Let's talk about that, yeah.
Because so many people, and it goes to the whole pacing thing and the jogging thing. People just want to go, harder, I should just get to the point where I spew. But if you're an 800 meter runner, if you're a 1500 meter runner, you should live there. That's your bread and butter. But if you play team sports, you'd be amazed what the work to rest ratio is. You spend so much time walking and resting.
Yeah. And you want to mimic that because people think, we should just cut out the rest and they'll get fitter. But it's actually no, because you're not rested enough to challenge your system enough to stimulate the adaptations. And the way I explain it to people is you wouldn't go into the gym and try and do your max bench and then put it down and start again 20 seconds later. You'd be like, no, clearly I'll be too tired to actually put enough effort in to create an adaptation. That's really,
you'll drop the bar, it'll crush you. Yeah.
It's really obvious in the gym that you need rest between sets. But I think in a metabolic conditioning setting, it's less obvious. But the requirement's just the same. You've got to have enough reserve in your system to create enough stress to create enough adaptation. So
to build on that though, sorry, one last thing before we move on from this nerdy stuff, is when you're training anaerobically, you're as much training your ability to recover during those rest periods. That's one of the biggest things people don't realize is when you're training anaerobically, you're actually building your ability to recover. So you stress your body, dump a whole bunch of metabolic byproducts and wastes and hydrogen ions and all that kind of stuff into your body. And then you go, okay, how quickly can you get rid of this muscles and blood and lungs and heart, and how quickly can you breathe off the
deal
CO2
with this?
Exactly. Yeah. So if you don't put enough of that stress on your body, it never learns to recover from it.
And that was something I think Mike Ball probably opened our eyes up to that. He said when you're doing high-end anaerobic work, you're actually working aerobically on your recovery. You're ticking both boxes.
Yeah.
Whereas the aerobic work is ticking only the aerobic box. And so that's why you actually won't see any steady state stuff programmed into that app. And it's not to say steady state stuff is the devil. It's quite pleasant and can be useful for various athletes in various sports. But the way you get that trickle-down effect of smash the right kind of smashing on the intensity and then get that aerobic benefit as well. It's just too good to knock up, to knock past. So what else have we got on that? So we've got
GameFit. We're in the middle of that before we got sidetracked. GameFit is a 4-quarter workout. Start with one. When I filmed it, I reckon I did a total of 2 quarters, which normally takes about 10 minutes. I did them over 15 minutes, and that was hell on its own with moving cameras and saying lines and things like that.
And that was all by yourself, wasn't it?
That was all on my own. Yeah, that was.
Can I just a little side note as well? I don't think people appreciate how long, like, because people will say to Jake, "Oh, what app do you use to make your videos?" Like, there's some special app.
What software?
What it is it takes a long time. So roughly for most videos, like if you do a 5-minute video, it's 5 to 7 hours to make.
Yes,
total?
Depends how meticulously planned the video is. Some videos are a little bit more ad hoc. It's like, I can kind of wing this and just chat about it more naturally. Others, though, because they're more complex topics like energy system stuff, this is why we have a podcast and we have vlogs and they're very separate entities where we sit here and chat and I don't edit a thing versus a vlog or a specific instructional video. It's like if you're talking about something like energy systems, you could talk for hours about nuances here and nuances there and work rest ratios that and all this. But to get a succinct script that's both informative so you can understand and learn something from it and also then apply that to your own training or to your athlete's training, you really need to script that a bit. And so you need to do a bit of research and go, okay, well, that's important. That's a bit of fluff that can go. So there's there's doing a dot points, doing your research, then there's culling a script. So that itself can take half a day.
And let alone the shooting.
And then you shoot, and that can take, to shoot a minute's worth of good footage, it can take 25 minutes. So it can take half an hour to a minute. And then to edit, if I've done that process good, the edit goes quicker. And if you haven't done that process well, the edit goes longer. So it's a bit of give and take. But the edit, so you can take 2 hours per minute of footage you see. So at worst case scenario.
Do you reckon you and I have, in general, a very good creative tension and how we work. We balance each other out well. I think one of our biggest points of creative friction, though, is let's make a video about this. And you'll be like, that's... Like what I've thrown us into with this summer package.
Yeah, which we'll talk about. I think we're working our way towards the summer package 2019, 2020.
I just go, let's do this. And in my head, it's like, I know it's a bit of work.
Especially when you tell people, it'll be ready any day now. I'm like, it's like telling people the house is ready next week and the slab has just set. It's like, I'm sure he's only 10 days away. It's just walls and windows. What more?
I'm really sorry about that.
But yeah, it's super rewarding though, because those videos are like, they live there. People get tremendous value out and they can
lovely
use them.
Feedback about them. Yeah, it's really cool.
The thing that we're sort of building on with this half linear story, half tangential mess that we're making right now is you can use those every year. And every year since we've released these products we've had a better and better injury rate. Yeah. Every summer. And our not just injury rate, but also better performance in those early tournaments. Because the start of the year often starts with school tournaments and Australia Day camp for basketballers and ramping up into things. Our athletes always report back, I'm like crushing it. I'm absolutely dominating. I've never felt this good. I'm killed it at Oz camps or whatever it is. I'm ready for the nationals. Our kids not just our kids, our athletes, our adults, everyone, they get in such better shape and they don't work that hard over the summer.
No, it's not.
People think they're slaving in the gym and eating broccoli. It's half an hour a day.
It's minimal effective dose of maintenance. It's just enough to stay in touch, because all you've got to do is it's like you've just got to tap the muscles on the shoulder and say, hey, don't forget about us, keep working.
You just got to keep them awake, wake them up every day.
And the enzymes, so your phosphofructokinase, it's just working those metabolic stuff just enough that those enzymes are like, we're still required. Let's maintain an adaptation. It's not heaps.
Because they're really disloyal. They will very quickly atrophy if you leave them alone. But if you just stimulate them just a touch every couple of days,
just
does a really good job.
People don't realise that that's the case where just a little bit of something is so much better than nothing. It's just not the ROI, the return on investment of time, just because, and it's not just about that first tournament back either. The return on investment is you've sunk 48 weeks into working hard to get into amazing shape. if you can just get that minimal effective dose of maintenance through the downtime, then when you resume, you're building on those previous 48 weeks.
You allow the compounding interest of training to compound even better by not withdrawing your money from it.
Yeah, exactly.
Like you leave it in the bank,
Yeah, and then you do that over 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, and then you've got you've built yourself into a world-class athlete. And it's just for the sake of doing a bit of work over summer. And it's not even unpleasant work.
No, it's quite nice if you do it before the heat hits.
Yeah, get up in the morning and get it out of the way. Yeah. All right, so at the moment we've got those various resources.
Yep. And so Fartlek Trainer is the new one we added this year as well in preparation for this summer. Less so for our basketball, volleyball, netball athletes. It's a little more long distance.
Yes, I think it's better than you. I think you're underselling it. Can I tell you why?
Tell me why, yeah.
So one of the hardest things in sport, so you can prepare, if you're doing your 8 and 12, you're doing your 15 on, 45 off, whatever it might be. One of the things,
sprints.
Yep. Just that undulating effort, rest. One of the things is you always know when the rest is coming, and you can just kind of train for that, and you get into this habit, and you just know where it's at. Whereas sport's not like that. Like sport, there'll be an unexpected turnover. Like your team could make a steal, their team could make a steal. There's all these variables. So sport's actually much more random. Yes, it's stop-start, but it's a really random stop-start. And so sometimes you've got to just dig deep and go because the game demands it. It's not on your schedule. The timers, all the times, however you look at it, those standard timers, you're on your schedule. And I think in team sports, you're on the game's schedule. There'll be different
context
different
schedule.
Average ratios in different sports, but all of them, it's pretty out of your control. And so I love the fact that people don't know what's coming next, and they have to kind of stay on their toes, and they have to push through. I think what you're maintaining better than maybe you've given it credit for is, and because I've been watching them, I've been seeing them do it in here a lot more probably than you have because you're busy doing other stuff. Is you see them just dying but hanging in there.
Yeah.
And
that fourth quarter type feel.
Yeah, I reckon it's great for all. Everyone but me.
You hate it?
I don't need 46 years old, not playing any sport. There'll be no fartlek for me. I'm good.
I love it for my own training because every time I do it, it's a different game. It's a different event. It's a different experience. So, and I helped develop it. Like I sort of helped. I didn't write the code, but I helped sort of lay out the rules and the constraints and things like that, and design the app. And every time I go home and see my brother who did develop the app, I say, "Oh, fartlek killed me today. I had to go hard, easy, hard, moderate." And I lay it, and he's like, "Yep, it's random. That's what it does." He doesn't care. But every time I do it, I'm like, "What am I going to get?" So each workout has its own feel.
Yeah, it's just great. Very quickly, can you walk us through the constraints because it's not truly random?
Yeah, so if you build so fartlek is built on the idea of what we call speed play. It's a
Swedish term. Yep.
Swedish term that means speed play, which basically means you just make it up as you're going. And so you go out there and go, I'm going to sprint to the next light pole. I'm going to walk across the bridge. I'm going to run at tempo for the next 1 kilometre. Like you just randomise it. The problem is we all just pace and everything becomes a jog.
I mean, maybe the Swedes are more, maybe they're tougher than us and more able to put themselves through pain.
And distance athletes are usually great at it as well because they know their paces.
Yeah.
But for team sport athletes, it's very easy to just turn everything into, I'll just jog to the next thing. I'll just jog to the next thing, jog to the next thing. So what our timer does is it creates 3 times, so hard, moderate, easy. You've got 3 speeds, and it gives you random orders of them. So it could go hard, easy, hard, easy, hard, easy, or it could go hard, moderate, easy, hard, moderate, easy. It does whatever it wants. But the hards can never be longer than 30 seconds. The moderate is between 30 and 60 seconds, and the easies are between 10 and 40 seconds. So it would be impossible to run a flat-out sprint for more than 30 seconds. So why should we, so we've constrained the app so that your hard sprints are between 5 and 30 seconds, your moderate efforts are between, I think, 20 and 60 seconds, and then easy is 10 to 40 seconds. So you don't get too much continuous rest. Yeah. Otherwise, it's very unsport specific then. And what's nice is you can have the hardest bit is going from moderate, so you're at a 4:30 pace if you're running, for example, you're 8 out of 10 on the bike. You have to go from that to a hard effort. And so you go 60 seconds of moderate into 25 seconds of hard.
Awful.
And then you come back into moderate. You don't even go to easy. So it's possible that it can go moderate, hard, moderate, then easy. Yeah. So you've got 90 seconds of work. And so you're like, when you're normally doing your sprints, you got hard, it's like, I just got 2 more seconds and then I can rest completely. Whereas this, it's like, I've got 2 more seconds and then I have to just dial it back a little bit, but then maintain a new threshold speed.
I think it's so clever.
It messes with your head.
Yeah, and I think also people have to, in the same way that you have to psych yourself up for a game or, an important time trial or whatever, competitive meets swimming,
race day.
I think you have to bring it a bit because you don't know what you're going to get. So I love that. It's great. So you're going to make a video. Are you going to make in the video? Are you going to feature slow-mo of the sweat flying off you at diagonal angles?
Yeah, when I run on the curved treadmill, my hands like cross a bit, and the sweat kind of flicks off my pinky finger in like an X type fashion. It's disgusting. I'm not world class at many things, but I am a world class sweater. If there was a sport for that, I'd be in. But yeah, so that's the fitness stuff. And they're all in the app, and you can get all of those. Soon to be some more instructions on the fartlek when I make that video.
Yeah, great.
Which will be just a short one I'll put up in the next couple of weeks.
That's the conditioning side of strength and conditioning. Yep. But what we've neglected a little bit historically has been the strength side of it, because
in terms of summer programs.
Not in general. Because for our people, they know their strength stuff. So the people that are training with us, that side of it, they know their strength stuff. They get it done. We hammer into them how important it is to maintain it. We get amazing attendance over summer in here. It always blows people away when they come in like, wow, everyone's in here. Yeah.
We have less staff because people go on Christmas leave and stuff, and a few of us who are here over the Christmas are a little bit nervous about a couple of days where we're down to like, we could get 60 athletes who are just here in Melbourne, just hanging out, ready to go.
But what we probably
we'll be ready though, guys. Don't worry, we're ready.
What we haven't previously done, what we've done or are doing at the moment, is providing resources for people that aren't able to get in the gym with us to maintain their strength work, or even start their strength work for some people who just haven't, got around to it, by doing some videos about just fundamental, just basic strength stuff that they can get into. So maybe we should chat about that a little bit. Yeah,
you planned them and you came up with these videos. So we'll have three separate ones in the end. So talk us through those.
So we've got three. We've got a land and gravity workout, a land, gravity and bands, and then a basic gym. You've got access to a gym program. And look, a big part of the catalyst for this was our work with Basketball Victoria. So we're now responsible for the delivery of programs across the whole state, which means we have to have better sort of digital outreach because we can't see every athlete as much as we'd like. And one of those things was I said, let's just design a very basic workout that can be done by anyone at the end of a sports session where they've got land. And so it's just really simple stuff. So what is it? Squats, push-ups,
squat, push-up, glute bridge,
W raise
off like a Superman type raise thing, and then
plank and calves.
Yeah. So just 6 or 8 exercises.
So it's not the ultimate all-encompassing workout, but it's just a good, easy 10-minute workout that you can do that'll just it'll either build a bit of very basic strength or it'll maintain a little bit, and it's so much better than nothing.
To go from nothing to that is like huge. It's an astronomical change you can make if you've never touched a weight in your life. You don't have to get to the gym. Like, just get started with that.
Just do that. And often people will say to me, "Oh, but blah 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 is playing sport heaps over this period." I'm like, "Yeah, but you need to maintain your exposure to the specific joint angles of a squat or a push up. Like, the tissues need to be exposed. Running doesn't keep you squat strong, but squatting will help keep you running strong if you add the two together." It's a bit of a hard concept to get across, but yeah. So there's that basic one, and then there's the slightly more advanced, which is really where we use bands on similar stuff. So now we've got bands around your knees, so you're working the hips a little, the glutes a little bit more, and we use a band for a row, which I really like. The row one's great, isn't it?
The beauty of the band is you can, like, this workout. The biggest argument, the biggest audience I think of this audience is the group that's gone to America for a holiday with the family. They're only in hotel rooms. They're doing a tour across the East Coast or whatever, basketball tour, or just a family holiday, or they're down at the beach at the peninsula and they're on a family thing for 10 days. You can, like, in your stuff, you pack your sneakers, you pack your clothes, jeans, jackets, whatever it is. You can pack a foam roller, stuff it full of socks, and at the end of it, stuff in two bands, a 41-inch fabric power band and a micro band to go around your knees, and you've got yourself a gym.
Yeah.
Those P90X ads. You got a door, you got a gym. You got some bands, you got yourself a gym.
Yeah. A couple of words of caution. I think it's really important every time we talk about bands to make sure we talk about making sure they're affixed to a safe thing. So they're around a pole. Don't hang them around door handles that can fly off. There's the famous example of an American who'd hung a 41-inch band of some sort around. He hung it around towel rail in the bathroom
and pulled it off the wall.
Pulled it off the wall, and so he pulled it off, and because it's like a slingshot.
Yeah, these things if we see an athlete trying to rubber band someone, we're not happy with that at all because these are dangerous things.
It's literally a lawsuit. Like someone lost an eye once. Like
not in this gym.
No.
Because we are on it.
We maintain our bands meticulously. Like if we see a band failing, and we also use really good bands. So we've experimented over the years, and we even before we were partnered with Iron Age, we use their bands because we love them. They're so good,
and they're the best for a reason because they make them. Instead of just making a single band that then can, when a normal band rips, it explodes.
It's like a popping balloon. Like it just flies. Yeah,
creates one little fray point or stress point in the band. The whole thing will rupture.
Yeah,
any movement from then on.
We found that out the hard way. No one got hit in the eye, but a couple of people got slapped in the legs.
Yeah, they did fly off ankles and things. But the beautiful thing about the Iron Age ones is they're made in layers. Sorry, microphone. They're made in layers, so each layer will delaminate, and the band will wear one layer at a time, which means it will. You'll get longer life out of it as it slowly wears it because elastic rubber just does that. But also it won't rip and explode like other things. It fails
very slowly. It gives you about 6 weeks of warning that it's going to snap on you. And so if you're listening to that warning, you're good. The other thing on bands just quickly is you do want to keep, they are rubber, so you do want to, where you can, keep them out of direct sunlight and contained. So in my little home gym, I use bands heaps because I don't have a cable row stuffed into my little shed, but I have them inside a plastic bag, inside a box, so they'll last. And that mine are years in and they're still fresh as. But anyway,
alternatively though, even better than that is to get the fabric ones.
Yeah, fabric ones are great too.
The fabric brands, again from Iron Age, are fantastic.
And they don't scratch, for those of us with hairy legs, they don't pull on your hairs.
They don't pinch on your T-shirt when you do your push-ups. They're much nicer,
nice,
particularly for the bodyweight stuff. So big fan of those.
We used them in the video, didn't we, for that reason?
And they will be much more durable. You'll spend more money on one of those, but it will last you 5 times longer.
Yeah, they're really good. And so the band stuff, particularly the band row, because one of the problems with one of the most beneficial things you get out of a gym is the access to a cable machine where you can have stress applied, where you're not relying on gravity to apply that. You can have cables to get that.
You can pull something horizontally and it's going to be heavy.
Yeah. The bands are great for that because you can just wrap it around as we did with a kneeling single arm.
Single arm, one arm power band row.
Just great.
Wrap it around a tree trunk or around something like that and away you go.
And it's not like, to be crystal clear, that's not going to make you crazy strong, but it will make you better than if you didn't do it, and it will mean the reintroduction of load when you come back into the gym is going to be much smoother.
Just like maintain your strength, maintain your posture, and again, it's just another step up from that bodyweight one. So level 1's the bodyweight only. Level 2 is bodyweight plus the band additions that we've shown in video 2 that you'll see.
And then the third level is your basic gym. We've kept it fairly simple because we're aware that it's broad audiences, so it's just goblet squats, bench press. What else have we got in there? We've got goblet squats, rows, bench press.
I don't remember. I think people are just going to have to watch the video for the details.
But it's just basic, push, pull, hinge. Your fundamentals done well, that can be really beneficial. And it is a great time to start that stuff over the break because you're not worried about school load or workload. It's a lot of people will start. You see that when you go for a run in the park. January, it's like 48 weeks of the year, I'm all by myself in the park. And then for about 4 weeks.
That's like our park as well. When my girlfriend and I run, there's another runner. What is this? We're the only ones who run there.
Me and Nick, I've met the other runner in Yarraville. I said hi to him at a Christmas carols thing because he's got a very distinctive handlebar mow. And I went up and said, hey, you're my running friend. He's like, yeah, we had a chat. We're it.
Nice.
But we'll have about 40 friends for about a month. Anyway. So those resources we're going to put out over the socials, but we're also going to create a bit of a web page for them on our coreadvantage.training
Yes,
website.
We are. Yeah, so you will see those plus the conditioning workout plus that fartlek video once I get around to it. They'll all go up on our Instagram, particularly IGTV if you don't find them, or on our Facebook and YouTube over the next between now and the 24th of December, hopefully. We'll not get them done. And so you'll be able to access them. You'll be able to, for free. This is a public service announcement, if you will. This is keeping people fit over summer and using this as a launching pad to make 2020 another big year for you in terms of strength and conditioning and your athleticism.
Yeah. I want 2020 to be a massive year. We've got so many really exciting things in the works for 2020 here. And it's just something about then. I feel like it's one of the most exciting sounding years ever.
This is the year for me growing up was like, we'll have hoverboards, we'll have flying cars. Like it's just
2020, it's all happening.
2020, it's so far in the future and now it's here.
Yeah. So I'm super psyched about it as a great year, and we are intent on having a cracker as a business. But I think it's also a great year for people individually to really smash it.
Launch out the next decade.
Yeah.
So you'll have everything, like I was saying, on social media, particularly Instagram and YouTube. So check those out if you haven't already. But what I'll also be doing is I'll be building a web page on our coreadvantage.training website. So if you sign up for our nutrition workshop from Dom a couple of weeks ago, if you've been signing up to that, if you've accessed those resources, it'll work exactly the same. So you'll go to a page, enter your details, you'll then get access to all the other resources. So all the videos will be laid out there together, a link to the app, a link to some PDFs and some worksheets that you can then take out and print off so you can tick off your weights and follow your sets and reps and track your work, and also a few suggested weekly schedules.
Yeah. So,
if you're a football player, this might be what your week looks like. If you're a basketballer, this is what your week might look like.
That's awesome. Can we? So two things I'd like to talk about just quickly.
Before you do that, can I add one more thing? If you're listening to this on the Friday that went up, right now I'm sitting in a cafe somewhere working on those resources. So you won't be able to go to that page to find those if you've listened to this live. So this is literally, new episode from Core Advantage, you've downloaded it. You'll have to give us a day or two before that comes up. So that will be up sometime next week, which if you're listening live, what's the date today? It's like the 13th or 14th of
12th.
12th of the 12th. Yeah. So these will be up hopefully before the 20th of the 12th, all this stuff. And it'll be progressive. So we'll put out notes when it's all coming up.
Yeah, exactly. One little thing on that is to avoid any confusion. So we have the coreadvantage.com.au, which is our standard site where most of our stuff has lived in terms of our blogs and access about our services for training here in Melbourne. That's very much our sort of these
internet home base.
Yeah. And then we have coreadvantage.training, which is what we built for putting extra things. We really built that website with the idea of having a speedy, accessible, good place where we could load information, courses, and all that kind of stuff. So that's the distinction. So you won't find much information about actually training here with us. But I should say, someone the other week said to me, I heard that you guys are closed for a month over summer. I'm like, no, we're open all the way through. So to be crystal clear, we're open through, and it is actually a pretty good time to get going. If we can fit you in, because there won't be many
spots, because we do have a few coaches away here and there.
Yeah.
So.
But the other thing I want to briefly touch on was, and we'll talk about it. We covered a little bit in the resources, but I think that idea of getting your spacing right. So what we've done with these programs is we've given people a lot of the ingredients. But I think the recipe is really important in the sense that what you want to do is you want to space it out. So you want to do a strength session, and then on the other day do a cardio, and then it might be an easier cardio, then another strength. Like you don't want to. It's amazing. It still blows my mind that people will say, it's a Tuesday and I've come to the gym, and I say, what did you do yesterday? I did a heavy strength workout. I want to go again today. I'm like, well, there's no point.
You've already dug that home.
So do exercise intelligence with how you space them out. And the biggest thing is sometimes you'll have to, if you're intending on using a gym, you'll need to organise your training around the days when you know the gyms will be closed because of Christmas holidays. So you might go for a run on Boxing Day because you can access
or sprints, not just a run. Yeah, you go for game fit.
Yep. But you might try and space it so that you're actually allocating your strength sessions to days when the gym will actually be open.
Yeah, because just like you can do too little over the summer, you can actually also do too much if you go the other way. So I hate that all our episodes end like this, but it's about balance. It's about doing a little bit of everything.
Exactly. All right, great. So there will be some show notes now and much more stuff to come.
Yes, but you'll see that on Instagram and on YouTube. We'll share that link, and hopefully I'll have it up by the end of today, which you're listening, which will be the 13th of December, and then there'll be more stuff filling out that page on next week. But you'll be then notified by email if you sign up for it now. So you can go to that website right now, you can sign up for it, and we'll notify you when the content is then available, and the PDFs and the workbooks and the videos and all that kind of stuff.
Sounds great.
It's going to be a busy few days.
It is. All right. Thanks, guys. See ya. And before you go, hear from some of our alumni about our career transforming course, the online mentorship. Learn more about how you can join at our website.
I learnt the theory stuff at uni, but I didn't know how to apply it. And coming to Core Advantage was how I bridged that gap. So I knew the stuff, but I didn't know how to do the stuff.
It was something that I needed to do personally for my own development, and it's allowed me to work in elite sport for now 5 years. So it was a massive help.
I think mentorship is really important, and being able to ask questions all the time, and the Core Advantage course allows that because there is a big team of people that you can ask questions.
I get to train professional athletes every week, work really closely with professional athletes, which is awesome. A lot of the skills that I'm applying I learned through the program at Core Advantage.
It's not just something that you read and then think about and then go, oh, how does that tie into everything? It's something that practical that you can turn around and go, this is exactly how I'm going to apply it. And the concepts that you learn help you as a coach, as a professional, as a person. Yeah, it's awesome. Definitely go and do it.
To sign up for the online mentorship, head to coreadvantage.training/mentorship.